everyone, welcome back to the Sister Show. Oh my God, we are so excited that you're back here with us. And of course, for those of you guys that don't know about the Sister Show, this is a platform where we bring you burning topics that hits home and also to have honest conversations to inspire and empower pretty much everyone. And I'm so glad that my lovely sisters are here. And I wish we could swipe Amy to be working right now instead of moms and have moms here. Oh, yeah. She brought a spray.
Bug spray. Kill the bugs.
So who's the bug? Anyways, let me get serious. But excuse us for those of you guys that are really fans of Mams, Dr. Mams. She's actually going to join us later on the program, so you could stay tuned for her. And of course, Amy's fans, I'm sorry, I just had to take a shade at Amy.
I love y'all.
I can't stand her. But welcome back, guys. So today we actually have a really, really great program for you guys. It's going to be a really packed show. We're going to have really important discussions. And of course, it's a career day. And I think we're going to give Amy the CEO, right, Olay?
Yes.
She's dressed like a CEO. So it's a career day. We're going to talk about our careers. And also we will have a game that's around career choices. And hopefully you guys will stick around for that. We'll share some of the things that we have learned during our career and the difficult moments and also the happiest moments that we can share with you guys. But I think the most important would be some of the choices that we've made and the difficult moments that we can share, and hopefully our audience, you, the sisters, will learn something from it. So make sure you guys stick around until the end of the show. Don't go anywhere because we have some really exciting news that we're going to be sharing with you guys, especially our sister squads. And we think it's going to be definitely beneficial to all of you. So stick around, don't go anywhere. And on that note, we're going to jump right into this amazing show. We have a packed hour for you guys. The first thing that we're going to actually do is to play a game, right? A career game with my sisters. The game is called Who's Most Likely To? And you guys can play along at home with your family and friends, especially if you have kids, and you could play along with this game. And comment below. Don't forget to make it a conversation with us. So with the sisters, who's more likely to be a Navy SEAL? Wait, Jay. Okay, everybody has Dr. J.
But I can't see yours.
See how rude Amy is? She's not even giving you your credentials. Jay. Yes.
Call me CEO Amy. If you put my name down for CEO.
Amy, what about the person that spelled it wrong?
Who spelled it wrong? I put an E at the end.
No, but look, you just changed it.
Okay, so I think, if you ask me, I think Dr. J would actually be a Navy SEAL out of all the sisters because she's really tough. And of course, she's a doctor, and I could never do what she's doing.
So if we're going in a battle, I'm sure she's going to be like the captain, and she will lead us to war, and she will make sure that all of us come out safely, even before.
Oh, that's sweet.
I don't know if she's gonna let us all come out safely. She probably will be like, "Oh, it's just dead. Just die. It's okay. Just die."
You know what I say? I tell all my friends that I have a sister that if you get shot and you call her and say, "Oh my God, Jay, I just got shot. Like my leg is bleeding," she's gonna say, "Okay, just go to the doctor."
So my mom was at the house, and Jay went to work. And Jay's oldest son, Ahmed, was playing football at football practice, and I think they hit him on his head or something. Long story short, he got sick when he got home, so he was like almost like passing out and stuff. And my mom like called Jay, come home right now. Your son is very sick. Huh? Jay was just calmly on the phone like, just call 911. And my mom was like, I'm telling you, your son is sick. You're a doctor, and you tell me to call 911. Jay was like, well, I'm taking care of somebody else's son too. My mom was so pissed, right? My mom, I swear, if my mom can probably strangle Jay that day, she probably would.
She was probably like, "Bakay dalulali, yo sa dong bangin gifting anan."
Mandibi bakay dalukoye, ah, ki bakay dalukoye, ah, Ahmed, anyway, Ahmed. I was like, oh my God.
So, the next one is, who's most likely to be a farmer among all the sisters? Juka, why Amy? Amy a farmer? No farmer.
No, but I actually would probably have been the farmer. So if you guys don't, if you guys
have you guys seen Amy on her bad days?
You're actually right. She will fit right in. Like
Amy can fit. Right? Amy can look so good, and then all of a sudden, okay, so she came to LA to visit with her friends. And then like the night before we all went out, we were all like looking cute and she looked really good, of course. The next morning we were supposed to go to brunch. Of course, when you sleep in and they all came to the house and Amy came to my house and all her face was ashy. Her lips were chapped. She had a hat on. And if you see her with her tennis shoes, I was like, Amy, where do you think you're going? She goes, we're going to brunch. I was like, I'm not going to brunch with you like this.
There's no in between, okay? There's no middle class here, okay? I'm either rich or broke.
Right, like yesterday, Amy, when you called me and you were like, oh, my hair. I looked at her hair, I'm like, is that a boy? Like, who's there, Amy?
Okay, so, but somebody else raised a farmer to be, you said Amy, Jay, and then Olay, what did you put?
I said Juka.
Okay. I mean, I can see myself being a farmer.
You can sell other people's product when you cannot farm.
I couldn't be a farmer, huh?
I think she would try to wing it, and you know, like how Juka is, right?
Hey,
like
I can do it.
Right?
No,
like,
Olay, I can do it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like whatever Juka puts her mind into, she'll probably like figure a way, and then she will like boss us all around in terms of like what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat.
Boss us all around. Say, repeat.
Boss us all around.
So who's most likely to be a police officer out of all of us? Can you guys see mine? Okay, Dr. J, Amy, Juka. All right, Jay thinks she could be a police officer. Amy thinks, so I'm actually right then, because I have both Amy and Jay. I don't know, Olay, why you think I could be a police officer?
So I'm sure like if somebody even steal like $5, you're like, you're going to jail because it's the principle that you stole the $5.
You're right, but once they apologize and say, okay, ma'am, I'm gonna do better, I'll probably be like, and if they cry, I'll probably be like, okay, go ahead.
But then they'll probably get like a lecture.
They'll rather go to jail for the $5 than listen to her for like 10 hours.
Exactly.
Wait. Okay. All right. So, do you guys think that Olay could actually be a police officer or Dr. Mams?
No, negative for both.
Why?
Olay will fall asleep.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. She probably fall asleep in the car waiting for the crime to happen. You know how like they'll send you a call in the police car to tell you like what to go do, right? Yo, they'll probably call Olay, page her like a million times, by sleeping in the car.
So I think I'll be a great police officer because I like data and I like to analyze. So I probably, maybe like a forensic or detective type officer.
So you like data, so it'll just be like your recipe book, right? Okay, which one of the sisters is most likely to have a political career? Let's see, a political career. Okay, why everybody has J? Why Juka? J.
Who said Juka? Oh, Jay said Juka.
Yeah, I'm like, hell no. Politics.
I'll definitely say Dr. J.
The only problem with that is everybody will go to jail, especially Africa.
She will arrest everybody.
Even her own mom or her own sister. You are corrupt, you're going to jail. I don't care what you're talking about, you're going to jail. Don't call me, you're going to jail.
Yeah, I believe that part. Juka no. Jay, I think you get that wrong. Juka will be a dictator. She'll be like, I need my feminine energy. Don't bring a masculine energy. Juka.
No. Can Amy be in politics?
Amy actually can. She actually can somewhat, right?
Can be a politician, but she'll be the typical African politician.
Nothing will get done.
Blah, 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 blah,
She will do
blah.
all the talking. That's what I was going to say. She will do all the talking. She will make all the promises. But when it gets to execution, she will call Juka and Olay. Can you guys please look that up for me?
Can you write that for me?
I'll actually be a very good politician. You know why?
Good. In the African sense, because you can convince everyone to vote for you. But then
I'll be but hold on. I'll be an amazing first lady though. Hi.
facts. Olay, can Olay be a politician? Olay could actually be. She's very level-headed. And moms.
Yes, moms, yes. You know why? She's like, she has that hidden thing in her. She's very like, she probably would have to be in PDOIS in Gambia, you know? How about we pick a political party for each one of you guys for Gambia? So moms will be at PDOIS. Juka will be at UGP. Juka, hold your hands. Man, Jay will probably not work with anyone. And Olay will be in PPP. And I am going to be, I don't know, but I'm not separate.
On that note, who do you guys think is the sister that is most likely to be a con artist? Comment below. Let us know why you think Amy picked herself. She's being real though.
My facts. Yeah.
Able to my IT. My mom's gonna kill you.
Do you know how many times I've actually cornered my mom? So when we were younger, right? My cousin lived with us, right? And my mom loved my cousin to death. My cousin can never do wrong, or everything she does is just the right thing, okay? Mm-hmm. And everything I ask for, I'm lying, it's always wrong, right? I was like, okay, I know how to deal with this lady. Okay, so when I come to ask her that, Mom, we need to buy a book, and the book, she's like, buy a book? How much is the book? I said, $57 and 50 butoots. And she'll believe it, right? Because there is the 0.50 and there is the 57, so it's not an even number. So if it's even number, she'll never give me the money, right? She'll think I'm scamming her. But I mean, that's the only way I can get away with it.
Okay. So
you're a natural con artist.
Me, I wouldn't say natural, but
you guys
to my mom when I was young.
That was a fun game, guys, and hopefully you guys played along with your friends and family. Don't forget to comment below and mention one of your sisters or friends with all of the questions that we had, who's most likely to be that person. Tag them, let them come and defend themselves or agree. So let's move right along into the next segment, which is the topic of conversation for today's show, which is career choices. Dr. J, can you tell us about your profession and a little bit more on what you do?
I currently own a family practice clinic, but I actually started out working in trauma orthopedics and then in emergency medicine. Currently, I see patients from age 2 weeks old to my oldest patient, who is about 96, I believe. Her birthday was about a couple of weeks ago. And in family medicine, we oversee pretty much all diseases from preventing disease to acute illnesses, managing chronic medical conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, strokes, and multiple other things that we do in family medicine.
I currently work as a vice president and chief of staff for a Fortune 500 company in the operations side. For over 10 years, I've worked in technology. But what I wanted to actually share with the viewers and actually some of my sisters, kind of like the same, because usually when you say technology, the first thing that people think is that, okay, you're a coder. Let's just say there's strangers that as soon as you say technology, they would think that, okay, you can hack and you can help them hack. But in technology, it's it's a huge, vast field. Can you tell us, Amy, what your profession is and a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, currently I am the regional training director for Sephora Houston. So basically I train all the Houston Sephora's on Christian Dior because I work for Christian Dior. I train every single store, every single Sephora that's in Houston, Texas.
So like, can you imagine Amy actually training people? Like, I feel so sorry for those people.
Like, so this is the deal with me, right? when it comes to you guys and trying to train you guys just, man, stress me out, right? But when it comes to my job, I'm pretty like on it.
Because you're getting paid at that point, right?
Yeah. So basically, like from when I walk in, it's a mindset of this is the job and this is what I have to do and this is how I train them. And these are people who are already professionals, right? This.
Are you trying to say we're not professionals?
No, they are professionals in this profession. Right, they're professionals in this profession. So I don't basically train like upcoming, right? I train people who already
upcoming.
You're not even upcoming, Olay. You are before upcoming. What do you do, Juka, for the viewers? Because I kind of know what you do already. But
for me, what I do actually is I am the CEO and the founder of Juka's Organic Company. And we import products from West Africa and we work with women from small villages. And we started with one country, now we are in over 5 countries in Africa. And it's a fulfilling job. It feels really good to do what I do and I love it and I put my all in it and I don't even look at it as a job. Like I can wake up every day and just be doing it and not even worry about what kind of money is coming into our account. But it's just the passion that keeps driving me. So I really, really, really love it. And the funny thing is I love every part of my job. Like, so being an owner of a company, you know, if you own a business, it's actually problem solving. That's pretty much what we do all day, every day. So, and then for me, I think it's important when you have a business to be able to deal with all parts of the business and especially importing, you have different layers. So not only am I we deal with customers, but then we also deal with customs, right? US customs. We also deal with the customs in Africa, right? And then also dealing with the women that I work with and going into the farms. Those are my most favorite part, but I'll get to that later. But so these are all different parts of my business. And also dealing with the stores. So we sell wholesale to stores. We have also online store, but most of the things is like wholesale to stores. So for me, I love each part of it. And also production. So we deal with production. We produce the products. It's so many different layers that my job entails. And I love every single part of it. There's not one that I could say actually hate this part of the job. So hopefully I answered that. Okay, I don't know. Yeah.
You did.
So Olay, can you tell us how your journey started with what you do?
Being an immigrant, it's very, very tough. And I'm sure like our viewers out there that are watching that managed to get into the corporate world, it does not matter like what field. Your first job is extremely hard to get because it's very, very strange, or it's very, very interesting that being a college grad, the first thing that you're being asked is usually you need experience. So for me, what worked was just making sure I was able to get my foot into the door rather than going through the internship route. And once I get my foot into the door, I know that I could work hard and get to wherever I wanted. And the only way I was able to do that without having much experience was it was a much lower paying job, maybe let's say 20% than what my other friends that also graduated at the same time were making. But
knowing what you know now, would you have taken a different route?
I will not say I would have taken a different route, but I would say probably there's different ways that people can do it, like maybe not take the 20% pay cut right after graduating for your first job. And if you guys recall, that's one of the reasons why I moved jobs a lot initially. And I know you guys always used to laugh. I actually had a plan. For other kids that are graduating from college, you do not have to take, let's say, the 20% pay cut. That may not work for everyone. A lot of internships that are out there. There's some industries that are easier to get in, like the banks. They offer a lot of internship. And about 9 out of 10, they actually hire from the internship pool. So it's basically trying to find out, going online, there's a lot of resources out there. Or the most important part is also networking, making sure you have a LinkedIn page and going through the LinkedIn profiles and seeing maybe if there's companies that you would like to work for and add those people into your network.
Were you a teacher at some point, like when you first graduated?
Yeah, I actually did teach at a magnet school. And the funny thing was that this was like right after graduating from college. High schools in America, usually the kids are actually as big as adults, and I was teaching grade 10 through 12, so a lot of them were actually bigger than me. And it's funny, the hallway, and then the teacher just came and said, "Hey, you guys need to get back to class. Recess is over." She thought I was a student, and so I looked back and I said, "Who, me?" She was like, "Yeah, you need to get back to your class right now." and for a second, I didn't really understand. I'm like, why is she talking to me like that? And then I'm like, oh, I guess because I look like one of the students.
And so Dr. J, what about you? How did your career start? Can you share a little bit?
Been in the medical profession for a while. Worked as a nurse for years before I went on to further my education, because for me, that was the easiest pathway because I was married and had kids. So, and it's also very difficult and very expensive to go to medical school. And I had to work my way through school, because if you work in the medical field and you want to further your education, most of the hospital will actually pay your school whilst you continue with your education. So that was a faster route for me. It was a longer route for most people, but for me, it was actually good because it benefited me a lot. I was able to gain a lot of years of experience and learn a lot with the doctors that I worked with, who actually were the people that actually pushed me to continue on with my education. And once I graduated, I worked in trauma and emergency medicine, and now owning my own practice.
But Jay, so there's a lot of people, right, that's out there that that probably want to get into the medical field. But let's just be honest, me and you and everybody else watching know that it's not cheap. Like, it's quite expensive to go to medical school. Like, what route did you take, and what route would you advise them to take when it comes to expenses and payments?
I mean, yes, medical school is very expensive, and especially being in this country new and don't have the mentorship that you would need or someone to guide you as to what to do. It can be very almost like deterring when you think about all the bills and everything that you have to do, especially if you're a foreigner without grants or scholarships, can be difficult. So for me, that was the best route to do, was to actually work and still be able to continue on with my education. But for like our sister mom, did a completely different route, because when she came over, I was already here and I already have the little bit of knowledge and things that she could do differently. And she was able to apply for some scholarships and some grants to put her through school. But that doesn't mean that every single person has to do the same. And there's a lot of scholarships out there for kids that are really wanting to go into the profession. It shouldn't be a deterrent agent. Like, for example, in New York, they have a full scholarship for people that are in that area that want to go to medical school. So it's just a matter of knowing the right track and knowing the right people, and also being open-minded and mingling with people that are not only from your own culture, but people from different cultures that are actually striving to gain the same access to medical school.
If somebody wants to go to medical school and then they want to apply for these scholarships, like, are there requirements? Of course, I'm thinking grades, and what else can you tell them in terms of getting the scholarship?
There are programs where right after high school, you can actually apply to these programs. Instead of going and doing a 4-year pre-med, you can just do straight into apply to that program. And UTD actually has it in Dallas. So instead of 4 years of pre-med, you just do 3 years, and your 4th year, you'll be already in medical school. And you don't have to do all these MCAT and all these other tests that you require to do. Once you applied into the program and you're accepted, you go straight into medical school.
Thank you, Dr. J. So that's a great point. I think what we're going to do is we'll have our team write a blog on this, and they'll consult with you so that they could have a step-by-step process for those viewers that are watching.
Mamaram can also talk more about it because she has a totally different experience from myself, and she can probably give them a lot more information as well.
Everyone that's watching, please do look out for a blog. We'll try to release one out on our website, thesistershow.com, so that you guys could have really great information on this.
All right, Amy, so how about you? How did yours start?
So my career started years ago. So if you know me very well, I mean, probably some of you guys know, some of you guys may not know, but if you know me quite very well, I actually used to model, and that's how I get into the beauty industry. And when I moved to New York, I was still modeling in New York. And I remember working on different sets in New York as a model. I worked for BET on the runway, worked for New York Fashion Week. The crazy thing was, after a while, I started getting very insecure about what I would look like when I come out, because they'll always put the wrong tones of foundation, the wrong tones of concealer and everything on me. So then I had to start doing my research on what is the right undertone for me. What is this? So then I started knowing, oh, this is what undertone means. Oh, this is what overtone means, right? So then I started finding a passion in beauty, which is, you have fashion and you have beauty, right? So I started finding a lot of passion in the beauty industry, which is makeup, right, and skincare. I remember one time, actually, I was put on stage to work at the fashion show, and they put I think they used a wipe to wipe my forehead, and I broke out, and that's when I started getting a passion also for skincare. So beauty just became a thing for me. So then that's how my career started, because I started doing a whole lot of research, then falling in love with it. So once I started getting older, I realized that I had to find a whole different career path just so I can keep it moving, because if not, my mom will send me to med school or to nursing school, which I was not ready to do. So I had to get myself together.
You have to figure out a career of choice.
Oh, real quick before she gets over here.
So Amy, you talked about how they were putting, I guess, the wrong makeup or the wrong tone with your skin color. So now that there's like a lot of makeup brands out there, like Rihanna, are we moving in the right direction in terms of the lines of makeups that are out there? Is it now more diverse?
To be honest, I think it's gonna be a lot less now than before, because man, I remember actually one time I was working, I can't remember, I think it was New York Fashion Week, right? They had to mix like lipstick with foundation, like a black lipstick with foundation, mix it just to create a shade, right? And that just comes to tell you how less of like deeper skin tone foundations that were there. I mean, now you have the Rihanna, the Fenties. Okay, you have almost every single brand, like even Dior, have shades that are darker than me. So the industry is doing quite well in terms of like putting more shades out there.
Hey, Dr. Mom, so what about you? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and your career?
I'm currently a resident physician in obstetrics and gynecology. Being a resident, that means that I completed my 4 years of medical school training, and now I'm in training to specialize, and I'm in the field of obstetrics and gynecology. As a resident in OBGYN, you rotate in different fields of OBGYN because it's such a broad field. You can rotate in labor and delivery and like spend a month there, and sometimes we rotate in gynecology where we do a lot of surgeries, or in gynecologic oncology where you treat women that have like cervical cancers and like ovarian cancers, and you do their surgeries, get through their chemotherapy and all those things. And there are a lot of other subspecialties that we have a chance of rotating throughout our 4 years of training.
I guess that makes sense why you're always busy, but we're glad that you're here to help inspire, especially women of color. So we really, really appreciate your time with everything that you do, but you still take the time to come and film with us. So thank you so much.
Okay, Juka, how about you?
So how my career started, actually, for me, it's been a long one, different paths for sure. I remember moving to LA to go to school, and then shortly after I actually got signed with the boutique agency. Then I got signed with Wilhelmina, which is a big agency in New York, so I had to move there. And that was quite bold at that young age. I think I was in my early 20s. I found myself doing a lot of TV commercials and so on, which was amazing. And from that point on, I decided to come back to LA because I realized I was doing a lot of TV work. Not to brag, but I think I should own it. I did over 20 national commercials, which probably is unheard of. And then at the age of 27, I opened a store, an African market. So during that journey, I realized that actually there's a big potential in what I was doing, and I was finding it very fulfilling having this store. So I gave myself a year in the acting industry. I said, if I don't because I like everything I do, I like to see results. And everyone that's listening, that's following the journey, I think you also have to be realistic and give yourself a time frame. You can't do something for the rest of your life and it's not working. So as much as it was my passion, I also realized during having the store, that was a calling and that was very fulfilling. Yes, I had some really difficult moments with the store because when I opened it, it was a bad economy timing during the recession. So I ended up closing the store, but it was the best thing ever. And then that's where Juka Organic was born. And I feel like that's been my purpose and I would not give that up for anything.
So Juka, as we all know, in most careers, whether it's music, whether it's movie, whether it's in the corporate world, usually people only see the end result. So can you tell us like more in terms of were there some low points where you kind of like felt giving up when you transitioned from the model to opening the African business to Juka Organic?
I've had so many low points, even like from when I was a model, because I'm shorter. So that was one of the first things. Wherever I went, it was like, okay, we love your look, but you're too short. The good news is I kept going and I kept going. And the fact that I was getting turned down a lot, and then Wilhelmina picked me up as the petite model, and then end up doing a lot of commercials, that was great. But even during that journey, like there would be times, and I think maybe that built up my resilience. And it's funny, I'm gonna share this quickly. It's funny how people can stereotype models or stereotype certain careers as something that is not maybe, something that people don't really want to do, especially in our culture. People look down on it. But to be honest with you guys, I feel like the resilience that I've built along the way, my journey, and the spirituality and all the beliefs, it actually came from there. And I'll tell you why. Because I remember sometimes when I would go on things and I would see really amazing, beautiful tall models or like maybe really good actresses there. And I would get it, and it would be me, one black girl, and a white girl. So for me, I looked at it as this. It's not because I was the most beautiful person, or it's not because I was the most special person, but it's because that was my path and that was my destiny. So for me, that actually strengthened my spirituality, believe it or not. As far as Juka Organic, me having to invest a lot of money at the store, thousands of dollars, all the residuals that I was making from modeling, going into the store, closing that store, having to say goodbye to that store, walking away from that store with only $2,000.
These are things that make you stronger, right? Because you said you had like a lot of resilience. So it's not just any person probably that could do something like what you were doing. You have to have that stamina or that resilience in you.
You have to have like a bull's eye, if I'm okay. And I'm talking about this because I'm really passionate about it. And I young women that are listening, especially if you're in your 20s and you're trying to find yourself, or even 30s, you could even be in your 50s. Write down what you want, and every day go at it. Until you are seeing results, go at it. And I bet you it's gonna happen. The time that when it actually doesn't happen is when you give up. But as long as you keep pushing through, it's gonna happen. And you will have really bad moments. You will have moments that you just wanna like let go. But you know what keeps me going though? With those moments, I kept saying everything comes to pass. And this moment is gonna pass. And I envisioned myself passing that moment and being on the other side.
I'm not sure if I really have difficult moments whilst I practice. I think it was more during my journey, like having to raise 3 kids on my own and still go to school and still work full time, or even, I'm just thankful for where I am. And it's all about the passion in what you do, like you said. I don't see them as difficult moments. I saw them as something that was supposed to build me up to become who I am today, to make me a better person. Yes, it was hard sometimes, but I never, ever thought about quitting at all. I always knew what I wanted, because I think in life, as long as you know the why you are here, the why God created you, that kind of gives you a reason to keep going. And in order to get where you're going and be better at it, you have to have a certain pathway that leads you there. And if you omit that path, you may not be as good as you're supposed to be once you get there, and you may not even appreciate it when you get there. So I think those days that I didn't sleep, I would sleep for 2 hours, 3 hours, you all know, and I still would go in, take my kids to school, take my kids to practice, sleep in the car for 2 hours, go back in the gym and watch my kids play sports, and then come back again and run from one side of the city to another part of the city. So I will do like a 360 within 8 hours and still go back to work. Those are days that I think about now. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how I did it, but I did it. That's what made me who I am today. So I'm thankful and grateful that I did it, because I appreciate parents that work with me, and I understand when they go into those moments. I never believe in giving up. I always think as long as you know why you're here and why you're doing what you're doing, that's all you need.
That's beautiful, especially when you talk about like the moments that you have the kids and go, and I'm sure a lot of and still want to finish your education and become who you are today. I think it's remarkable, and I know that it's going to definitely inspire a lot of people that are actually walking in those shoes right now.
So Dr. Mams, being that field of medicine is such a long haul compared to all the other professions, can you tell us, like, what was your journey like?
As you rightly say, it's been a long journey. I went to college in Gambia, at the University of the Gambia. That's where I obtained my first degree in chemistry, and then I moved to the US to go to med school. But as easy as it may sound, it has been definitely a long journey, a lot of transitions, of course, a lot of tears were involved. But to just give you a sense of how medicine is and how different it is from America and the Gambia, and of course like a lot of other European countries. So in the Gambia, you graduate high school and then you go straight to college and do 1 year of pre-med education, and then the 6 years of medical school. So there is that guarantee that you're actually in medical school. And I think this is kind of the same when you go to other European countries. In the United States, and I think Canada as well, have the same system. You have to go through, of course, finish high school first and then go to college for 4 years. And while you're in college, you can major anything that you want, but the main thing is you just have to complete your pre-med prerequisites, which is most of them are focused on biology and chemistry courses. And after that 4 years, there's no guarantee that you're going to get into med school. So it's such a huge risk that people take. After that 4 years, you apply to med school, you can get in. Sometimes you don't get in. Sometimes you have to apply for 3 other times at school, and the application takes like a whole year to get everything together. So most people start the application process while they're actually in college. Like when you're in your third year of college, that's when you would start looking at schools and putting all your application together and then apply. And then that way, when you graduate, you know that you have a school that's already there for you. So you just transition into medical school.
Once you get into the medical school and you finish, is that the end of it? Like, or does it mean that you still have more to go?
Absolutely not. There's more training that's involved. So after completing the 4 years of medical school, which is usually 2 years of being in a classroom, learning about basic sciences, learning about medicine from the books. And the next 2 years, you're in the hospital, you're working with a team of doctors, you're training under them, you have your own patients, and you're basically learning how to be a doctor in those 2 years. And after that, after graduating, you're a doctor at that point because you have your MD and you have the license to practice. And you have the license to like prescribe medications for patients, and you're working under an attending physicians who are basically training you in that specific specialty. Because in med school, you're going through everything in medicine, like radiology, you rotate through dermatology, general surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, internal medicine, just to have a feel of all those specialties. And then from there, you can choose what area you want to specialize in.
So Olay, can you please tell us about your most difficult moments during your career path?
Yeah, so for me, I don't refer to it as a difficult moment in my career. I take it more of a challenge. I honestly believe that in life, with anything that God presents to you, it's actually a teachable moment, right? So in anything that I find, and I can say I'm somewhat selfish in that whenever I face a challenging situation, I take it that, oh, there must be a lesson that I have to learn from here. There must be a silver lining. And that's kind of like how I led through difficult times in my life, difficult times like in my career. So I initially started like in the software engineering testing, which actually does fit more of my personality. You're basically just dealing with the computer, the machine. You really don't have to talk to anyone.
So you prefer talking to the machines than talking to us, or?
Good question. Actually, sometimes because the machines, they do not have attitude and do not talk back, like being snappy, like you know who.
Like you know who.
So anyway, so I was really good at it because it definitely fit my personality. But I got to some point, I think I worked for maybe 2 or 3 companies. And then the last company that I was at, getting too mundane and too boring. And I'm the type of person, I always like to challenge myself. And I felt like I was not really given the opportunity to think outside of the box. At that point, I took it for myself to completely switch careers. It was still within technology, but it was not like in the engineering field. So it was more going towards like the project management. There was a woman that was at work. She was very, very influential. She and I, before I decided to switch, had like a very, very good relationship because all of the projects that she wanted were being done by me. And she knew that if it was with me, it was going to be done on time, etc. So when I decided that I wanted to change, she only heard about it the last minute, and she tried everything she could to block it because she was like, you're so good at this and that fits your personality. So why do you want to go into a PM? But I had a goal. I know where I wanted to be, and I knew for me to get to that point, that was maybe some of the routes that I needed to take. I felt like she was trying to like put me into a box, like, oh, you're like Black, African, have an accent, right? So maybe you should just shut up and be behind the machines. You shouldn't be like outside, because like with the PM, you're basically like in the forefront of pretty much everything. I decided to move forward anyway. I did whatever I needed to do. So she pretty much did everything she could. And so she already like put that thing out there that, oh, I don't think this is her skill set. Like, I think we're setting her up for failure. So this was during a very, very difficult personal time, not just work-wise. This was the time when Elijah and Ibu were kidnapped. This is time like when I was trying to make this type of decision, and it got to a point where I was giving an option, and it was like, okay, we're going to give you, we're going to put you back in your old role, and actually we will promote you. So that was one option. The other option was, of course, you take a severance package. And at that point, it was a very, very low point in my life, but I decided that I'm not going to let anybody kind of put me into a box. They didn't know like how I got into the US, right? Like they didn't know like the resilience that we actually have. People really thought I was crazy. They were like, you were being offered like a position, but you were being promoted to do like what you were doing. And I was like, but that's not what I want to do, because I know exactly where I want to be. And this is not what I want to do. So I decided to take option 2, which was take a severance package, and left the company. I did a lot of reflecting after I left. I realized that, okay, it's not like, because if you switch from one career to the next, like whatever worked in that last role is going to work in this role. It was a completely different role that I was doing. Through that journey, I actually came up with, I would say, an alter ego, right? Because people that know me in my personal life, it's like I'm very, very quiet, of course. I'm not aggressive at all. But it's so funny, like at work, when people describe me, it's almost like 2 different people. And that's kind of like the personality that I had to build on to be able to survive in a male-dominated Caucasian, Asian world. But that was all because of the challenges that I faced. And that's kind of like the lessons that I learned, and I never looked back.
When we talk about within the career that I am in right now, like I had a lot of low points, like before I get to this particular career that I'm in right now, right? But I'm just gonna focus on this part. But just to kind of like not make it look like I never work hard for what I have today or what I am today, I've been through a lot. Because this is not where I started, right? You guys knew that, you know that I actually started as a model in New York. And I remember when I first moved to New York and did not know anyone there. And I was sleeping on someone's couch for almost a month before I get it together,